Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a really ambitious set of ideas. We're looking at sources that connect Carl Jung, quantum physics, and even conscious creation.
That's right. It's quite a synthesis.
hmm
We've got everything from, academic ontology right through to some pretty practical philosophy.
And the goal here, our mission for this deep dive, is to explore this idea, not just theoretically, but practically, that the universe isn't just accidentally conscious.
Uh-huh. That it's fundamentally mind-like, interconnected at its very core.
Exactly. Our sources are suggesting this is the actual foundation of reality. So the big question for you, listening in, has to be, what if those invisible patterns running the universe,
The non-material forms.
right, the deep cosmic rules,
Yeah.
what if those are the same blueprints we're supposed to use to shape our own lives? Let's try and unpack this.
Okay. Where do we start?
Well, I think we have to look back a bit first, set the scene, because really, until about 100 years ago, Western thinking was, well, rigidly materialistic.
Yeah, very much so. You had Descartes splitting everything mind over here, matter over there, thinking versus extension.
And Newton gave us these solid little billiard balls, right? Impenetrable particles. The basic idea was, if you can't touch it or measure it, it's basically not real.
And that split, that segregative world, as one source calls it, it had huge ripple effects.
How so?
Well, it basically reduced life to just stuff, materialism. So when Darwin's ideas came along, they got filtered through that lens.
So things like aggression, greed.
Exactly. They almost became virtues because they helped you acquire more stuff. It led to this feeling of kind of cosmic loneliness. Jacques Monod, the biologist, called it man's total solitude in an alien world, a universe deaf to his music. Pretty bleak.
Okay, so that's the backdrop, and then Carl Jung walks in.
Right. And he proposes something that must have sounded, well, almost crazy at the time. Archetypes.
These invisible guides.
Invisible, non-material forms.
Mhm.
They don't have mass, no energy in the classical sense. But he insisted they exist, guiding us from this collective universal level, shaping our imagination, our perceptions.
It sounds completely counter to that whole materialistic worldview. How radical was that idea then?
Oh, incredibly radical. Think about it. He's saying these non-material patterns are fundamentally real, maybe even more real than the solid stuff you can see and touch. That was,
Yeah.
well, it flew in the face of classical
But
science.
then physics catches up.
This is where it gets really interesting, yeah. Quantum physics comes along, and almost accidentally, it validates Jung's core idea. It showed the fundamental flaws in that old classical picture.
What was the big discovery?
The absolute core finding is that the basis of the material world isn't material.
Wait, say that again?
The foundation of matter is non-material. If you look inside an atom, those electrons, they aren't tiny little balls zipping around.
You're not.
Nope. They exist as standing probability waves.
Probability waves, so like
Yeah.
not a thing, but the chance of a thing, like a blueprint.
Exactly like a blueprint or an instruction set.
Yeah.
They're basically dimensionless numbers, patterns of information. They're empty in that wave state. No mass, no energy.
So matter, at its root, isn't stuff. It's information, form.
Precisely. Which sounds an awful lot like an archetype, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A pattern of information that shapes what happens.
Okay, so if you dig down deep enough, you don't find bricks, you find math.
You find math. And, this isn't entirely new. Pythagoras was talking about all things are numbers thousands of years ago.
And Plato's forms. He described atoms as mathematical shapes too, didn't he?
He did. It connects all these threads beautifully. Discovering this realm of non-material forms within physical reality makes Jung's archetypes seem, well, much more plausible as real, existing forms in some kind of cosmic field.
It supports his big synthesis.
Exactly. That psyche and matter are two different aspects of one and the same thing, just two faces of this underlying informational reality.
Okay, let's talk about wholeness then, because quantum physics doesn't just redefine matter, it seems to dissolve separation too. You mentioned non-locality.
Right. Non-locality. This instantaneous connection or influence between particles, no matter how far apart they are. Spooky action at a distance, as Einstein called it.
But hang on, if things can influence each other instantly across space, doesn't that just wreck the whole idea of cause and effect? A has to happen before B?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the sources suggest the answer lies in seeing reality as sort of dual.
Dual.
Yeah. These elementary particles, let's call them elementary things or ETs, they flip-flop. They can be a localized particle, a specific thing right here, right now, usually when we're looking at them.
Okay.
But when we're not looking, they spread out into this non-material wave state.
Hmm.
And that wave state, that's their preferred state. It's their home base, a state of pure potentiality.
So the solid world we see is just like a snapshot, a temporary manifestation.
Pretty much. The visible empirical world we experience is an emanation from this deeper, non-empirical cosmic background.
Mm-hmm.
And that background, that potentiality, is the primary reality. It's the flow.
And if the forms in that background are informational, pattern-like,
Then they're thought-like. And the implication is pretty staggering. Consciousness isn't just something humans have. It seems to be a cosmic property. Our individual thinking might just be a localized ripple in a universal mind.
wow. Okay, that lines up incredibly well with Jung's idea of the Unus Mundus.
It does. His one world, that underlying unity beneath all the diversity we see, non-locality provides a kind of physical basis for that unity, doesn't it? Everything's connected instantly at that deeper level.
And suddenly the drive for individuation, that search for wholeness Jung talked about, it becomes physically meaningful.
Yes, the goal isn't just psychological. It's about reconnecting with that fundamental unity. The word religion itself comes from regard to reconnect. It's finding our place in that quantum wholeness.
Okay, let's nail down this connection between the physical and the mental a bit more. You mentioned these forms guiding things. How does that work at, say, the molecular level? The sources talk about virtual states in chemistry.
Right, virtual states, let's clarify that. Think of them as like invisible templates or pathways available to a molecule.
Templates.
Yeah. They're empty, non-material waveforms that hold all the possible future states for that molecule or system. A molecule can't just become anything. It can only transition into one of these pre-existing virtual states.
I see. So the molecule is sort of steered by these invisible possibilities, these inner images of what it could become.
Exactly. It's guided by the inner image of its virtual states. And compare that to us.
Human life being guided by the inner images of archetypes.
Precisely. Conceptually, they're doing the same job. Quantum wave functions, union archetypes, they're both pure, non-material forms that organize and direct empirical phenomena.
That's a really powerful parallel.
It is. And it suggests something profound about evolution, too. Maybe biological evolution is, in part, the story of minds adapting to perceive and interact with increasingly complex forms, archetypes that already exist in this cosmic potentiality.
Which would explain why we can understand the world at all.
Because the forms inside our minds and the structures outside share the same origin. They're drawn from the same cosmic blueprint.
It's amazing how these ideas echo across time. You mentioned the mystic Meister Eckhart using the term virtual states centuries ago.
Yeah, talking about things actualizing their virtual being from the divine. It's like this fundamental truth keeps bubbling up in different eras, different languages. The physicists find it. The mystics find it. It's that Sanatana Dharma, the perennial philosophy.
Okay, so if there's this underlying unity, this shared blueprint, that brings us to another key Jungian idea, synchronicity.
Right. Singular coincidence.
Coincidence according to meaning.
Meaningful coincidences. Can you give us a straightforward example?
Sure. Imagine you're really wrestling with a big decision, say, whether to move jobs. You're intensely focused on it, turning it over in your mind.
Okay.
Then maybe later that day, you overhear a conversation or you randomly open a book and bam, there's a phrase or an idea that perfectly unlocks the problem for you. There's no obvious causal link between your thought and that external event, but the meaning connects them perfectly.
Exactly. That's synchronicity.
And the old physics, classical physics, would just say, nope, impossible, pure chance.
Right. Because it demands a physical cause and effect chain. But the quantum view, this dual reality of potentiality and actuality, it actually makes synchronicity seem almost necessary.
How so?
Well, if there's this underlying realm of non-empirical forms, a single form, a single pattern of meaning can manifest simultaneously in different ways.
Ah, so it could show up as a thought or an image in your mind.
And at the same time, as a corresponding event or situation out there in the physical world, the same meaning expressing itself inwardly and outwardly.
That makes sense. And the sources point to historical examples of this on a bigger scale.
They do. Look at that period around, say, 1900 to 1917. You've got Planck kicking off quantum physics, Freud inventing psychoanalysis, modern art digging beneath the surface.
And World War I starting. Huge upheavals.
Huge. But notice the common theme. A collective turn inward. A search for something hidden, something fundamental beneath the surface reality. It's as if, the sources suggest, some cosmic spirit was at work in a synchronistic process.
Okay. So we've established this kind of cosmic blueprint, this potentiality field. We've seen how it might link mind and matter, create synchronicity. Now let's get practical.
Right. If our own mind is part of this bigger cosmic mind, this Unus Mundus, how do we actually use that connection? How do we consciously create?
Yeah, because the blueprint isn't much use if you don't know you have the key, right? The sources really emphasize the power of imagination here.
Absolutely. Neville Goddard's perspective is powerful here, that your imagination is God, the creative force expressing itself through your experience. It's not just daydreaming. It's the engine of reality creation.
You're not just watching the movie, you're directing it.
You're directing it. And this is crucial. It explains why there's such a massive industry built around feeding your imagination.
Media, news, advertising.
Exactly. Billions are spent designing curated images, narratives, emotional states to capture your imagination. Why? To steer your creative power towards their desired outcomes, not necessarily yours.
It's like they're trying to hijack your internal GPS system.
That's a great way to put it. Your imagination plots the course through the infinite possibilities, the infinite realities that, according to this view, already exist. If you let external noise control the input.
You end up where they want you to go, not where you choose.
Precisely. So the fundamental choice is, are you reactive? Are you just the effect, constantly blaming your circumstances? Or are you proactive? Are you the cause, the creator?
Okay, so how do we become the proactive force? What's the actual technique, the blueprint for using this power?
Well, the sources bring up two core Hermetic principles that laid out.
Okay, what are they?
First, the principle of mentalism. All is mind. The universe is fundamentally mental. Reality begins as a thought, an image, a form in that potentiality field.
Everything starts as a mental blueprint.
Got it.
And the second?
The principle of correspondence. As above, so below. Or, maybe more relevant here, as within, so without.
Meaning the images you hold in your inner world
Will inevitably ripple out and shape your outer world. Like tossing a stone into that potentiality lake, the ripples have to reach the shore of your physical experience.
So how do you toss the stone effectively? What's the core technique?
It boils down to assumption. You have to decide what you want and then assume you already are the person who has it. Not that you will get it, but that it's already done. You are that reality now.
Living from the end result.
Yes, and the way you visualize this is absolutely critical.
How so?
It must be first person. You have to see it through your own eyes, feel it with your own senses. You're not watching a movie of yourself succeeding.
Like watching yourself play a video game in third person.
Exactly.
Right.
Avoid that third-person Fortnite visualization, as one source puts it. You need to be in the scene, feeling the handshake, hearing the congratulations, smelling the new car smell, whatever it is. You persist in that imaginary scene until you feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
That feeling of satisfaction, relief.
Yes, that deep sense of, it is done. That's the signal you've successfully impressed the potentiality field.
And persistence. That sounds key.
Mm.
What about when things don't seem to change or you hit setbacks?
Persistence is everything. Those setbacks or delays, they aren't proof it's not working. They're often just the system rearranging itself. Think of it like reality is clearing out the old furniture to make space for the new stuff you've ordered with your imagination.
So you just hold the assumption, regardless of appearances.
You hold the assumption.
Yeah.
You know that your imagination is the ultimate reality and the physical world must eventually conform.
Okay. So wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway from this deep dive?
I think the really powerful thing is the consensus here. Whether you look through the lens of Jung's archetypes, quantum physics probability waves, or these principles of manifestation, they all point to the same conclusion.
That reality is grounded in this non-empirical mind-like potentiality.
Exactly. And Jung was clear. Living in harmony with this deeper spiritual background, acknowledging the reality of the self, isn't just a nice idea, it's a prerequisite for a truly whole and meaningful life.
We're not separate from this cosmic spirit, we're expressions of it.
We are it, if we can just recognize and use that creative power within us. Realizing the self, as the sages say, is often like finding a necklace you didn't realize was around your neck the whole time. It's already here.
So you, the listener, you now have a kind of rule book, the operating instructions for reality that maybe those basketball legends wish they had. The invisible realm of forms, of potentiality, it's both the source of everything and, in a way, the destination of our journey towards meaning.
Your imagination connects you directly to that source. But it does leave us with a final thought to chew on, maybe a provocative one from Jung himself. If our consciousness is ultimately part of one single cosmic consciousness, and if individuation is about healing the splits and reuniting the self, what did Jung truly mean when he said, God is an ailment man has to cure.